Y'all ready? Daily Bible readers. Does anybody need a book? A class book. You need it? Larry's got one for you. Hold up your hand. I think everybody got one there. We're going to continue our study in Daniel. Here I am in range again. Belshazzar, I think his name. If it isn't close enough. We're not going to see somebody like that every day anyhow. So, we're going to be talking about the feast he set there. And I got to try real hard not to get on the next week's lesson, because it's hard not to, the way they make them so short. I haven't been as enthused the way they broke these up this time as I have in some of their lessons. But we're going to study about him, about his feast anyhow. We need to have a prayer before we start. Chris, since you're handy.
Heavenly Father, we're thankful for the day you blessed us with, for every good and perfect gift you bestow upon us. Father, we're thankful for the spirit of Bible study that we can gather together and learn more from your word. We pray, Father, that you will be with Brother Jackie and all the teachers as they deliver a message to us, give them a good recollection of what they prepared, and help us as students to rightly divide the scriptures, glean from them things that we can take and apply to our lives. We pray your blessings on those who are sick, upon this congregation, continue to bless us and guide our blessings. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
The author of the book made a note, and it's true too, that the book of Daniel doesn't always follow historical chronological order. He will move from place to place. Regardless, though, it still talks about the things that happened at that time. Today, the scene shifts between chapter 4 and 5 to the very, well, it's not that very night, but it will have an idea that the Babylonian king fell to Darius the Mede. In next week's lesson, Belshazzar will find out how short his time is for to continue to reign as king. We're going to talk about Belshazzar a minute ago, how that he wasn't really the king. He was like the king's son. Secular sources list Nabonidus as the last king of Babylon. They don't list Belshazzar. But Nabonidus was Belshazzar's father, so Belshazzar was like the crown prince. And they don't know if he didn't leave him there and coronate him as king of Babylon while he went to a place called, I think it's Thema. That's where it was, Thema. And he stayed there most of the time. Every now and then he would come back there, but most of the time he stayed there. So, to the Jews, Belshazzar, he was the king, because he was there all the time. He was one they had to answer to. And this Thema that Nabonidus went to was like 500 miles away, so he didn't come back too often. That wasn't, at that day and time, that wasn't a little overnight trip. That was a pretty good trip. Belshazzar, he fixed to start a row of events by going down the wrong road, and it's going to snowball on him. And it's going to snowball faster than he ever dreamed of. But older I get, the more I laugh at kids. They don't bother me. They tickle me. And he's ready. But Belshazzar, he made this great feast for a thousand of his lords. Now, whether it's an exact 1,000 or what, or just a figure of speech that they were a large group there. I'm not sure. But it was a very large group regardless. And in the presence of these people, he drank wine. And of course, he drank wine, they drank wine. It's kind of like, if I make this feast and you come, you do what I tell you. It's kind of like the guy in North Korea. You do whatever I say or else. That's the way it was at that time. The question can be asked, what was the purpose of the feast? Was it just another extravagant celebration for a pagan king? Was it just another, night to have a party, you might say? Another thought is maybe news of the surrender of his father Cyrus to Persian had reached that capital. And he knew that Darius the Mede would be close at hand. And maybe it was to rally and encourage the leaders. We got a great fight coming on our hands. We need to be getting ready. We need to bond together with this. And then, too, maybe it was to get their minds off what was fixing to happen. Because Darius was walking on, too. He wasn't leaving no crumbs behind. He was taking over, as Cyrus did where his father was. And then it could be said is to feast today, for tomorrow we die. That ought to be familiar with people today, because that's the way they seem to live. We think of the Chaldeans, which is the Babylonians, as barbarians because of the way they treated people at that time. But we need to remember the Jews at times were barbarians because at times they would worship the idols of the nations around them. And one of them was where they offered their babies as a sacrifice. I'm trying to remember the name of the idol now. The idol stood like this. Molech, there you go. And thank you. And they would heat him up with fire till he was white hot. And then they would lay those babies in his arms. Of course, they died. He would die pretty well instantly. But a burning death like that is terrible. One of the most terrible there is. But the Jews did that. So they become barbarians at times. They were barbarians too. They claimed to be Abraham's children. Abraham, Father Abraham. And yet they did some of these terrible atrocities. So even though they claimed to be Abraham's seed, at times they could still be very treacherous, very dangerous. We like to think that we are much more civilized than the Chaldeans. Are we? Our great country, maybe the greatest ever on earth, slaughters thousands of babies daily. Abortion. I've yet to figure out how, if they're wanting the baby, it's a baby, and if they don't want it, it's a fetus. But it's the same thing in there. So how do you differentiate in that? Don't differentiate. You want your lifestyle, and you're going to do what you want to do because you want to live a right or type living where you run around and do as you please. That's what it's all about. It is not about taking care of mama. It's about mama won't take care of herself and do what she wants because she has done those things she shouldn't be doing. That sums it up pretty good, Don. That is. Of course, it's all about the I generation, which started back when we were younger, a lot of it. It was, what can I get out of this? That's all that matters, is what I get out of it. Doesn't matter what the kids get, doesn't matter what anybody, it matters what I get out of it. We need to be careful because that's the way they thought back then, many of them. And we become the same way. We We think of nothing of sacrificing our time and money for entertainment, especially sports. We'll spend whatever it takes to do that. But then we're very, what do I want to say? What I call Don all the time. I can't think of the word I want. Prudence with our money, or tight with our money, when it comes to supporting God sometimes, in many different ways. But the problem there is that we need to be able to sacrifice. That's a big word. That's an important word, very important. I know I've got off the lesson a little bit here, but I'm coming right back. Don't worry. But sacrifice is very important because we don't want to sacrifice as Americans. We want to have what we want, when we want it, and how we want it. And we get really disturbed if we don't get it that way. Sometimes I think we live too long in a free society and have lost sight of what the value of it is. You know, I'm standing here this morning. Now, I'm not telling you it won't be an Islamic guy walk through the back door with an Uzi and start shooting. I can't guarantee you that. That can happen anywhere, anytime. Or throw a bomb down the aisle. All I can tell you is you need to be ready to go, because that can happen. But we've lived in a society where we don't have to worry about it. Dragging us out of here and throwing us in jail and putting us in concentration camps, things like that. And I think we tend to think that that never really existed. That's been so long ago. No, it still happens today. You get into the right countries, and it can happen here too. So we need to learn that sacrifice to do God's will, whether it be our money or our time, is really important, because time is shorter than you ever thought it was. You're 40-year-old and you think, I've got 40 more years. You might have 40 more years, but I guarantee you'll wake up one day and you'll be 80. You just don't realize how fast it gets here. And the older you get, the faster it runs. So time is short, very short. And we need to think of it as if this is it. This is all I got. This is all the time I got to prepare to go to heaven, because I don't get a second shot. This is it. Make good of it. Right. That was a good word. I didn't think of stingy. You still have all you need. I'm going to talk about that here in just a minute. You're getting on my lesson, but that's good, because that's a preamp to what I'm going to say. We should not forget 1 Peter 1:24. I got a few verses here I want to read, different places. All flesh is as grass, and all the glory of man as the flower of the grass. The grass withers and its flower falls away, but the word of the Lord endures forever. So our flesh is just like grass. It's here today and gone tomorrow. James, the first chapter, verses 9 through 11, he says, "Let the lowly brother glory in his exaltation, but the rich in his humiliation." Humiliation, I'll say it right in a minute. "Because as a flower of the field, he will pass away. For no sooner has the sun risen with a burning heat than it withers the grass. Its flower fails and its beautiful appearance perishes. So the rich man also will fade away in his pursuits." We used to call it, when I was growing up, we called it keeping up with the Joneses. I don't know what you call it now. But everybody would pick people, and they wanted to have things like they had. Well, I'm not saying that's not normal for humans, but it's far more important to learn humility. Who was it? Was the guy at Dungeon National Life in Carthage, I believe, who become a multi-millionaire, and he gave 80% of his income and lived on 90 maybe was 80 or 90, and lived on what the other. Of course, now he had enough to comfortably live anyhow, but he didn't have mansions because he thought that money that he had made, that God allowed him to make, belonged to him more than himself. So that was important. Luke, the 12th chapter, 16 through 20 continues. This is what Don was talking about. Then he spoke a parable to them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man yielded plentiful. And he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do, since I have no room to store my crops? So he said, I will do this. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there I will store all my crops and my goods. And I will say to my soul, soul, you have many goods laid up for many years. Take your ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, fool, this night your soul will be required of you. Then whose will these things be which ye have provided? So he who lays up treasure for himself is not rich towards God. It doesn't matter how much you accumulate. Now, my daddy was a stingy man, Don. And my mama used to get mad at him. She'd say, Virgil, when you die, I'm going to take all your money and put it in your casket. You can take it with you. And she'd tell him that a lot of times because she gets frustrated with him. But he thought having so much money made you important. Important in the sight of who? I want to be important in the sight of God. I don't care whether anybody else thinks I'm important or not, but I do care what God thinks. Only thing I care about anybody else is that I do morally what's right. At the end of the day, it will not matter how much money we'll have, how many sport trophies we have sitting on the shelf, or how much education we have. And I'm not against any of that, but it won't matter how many you got or what you got. For just in a moment or two, and I mean a moment or two, it's all going to be over. You think this takes a long time, but it doesn't. Time is quick passing. When I was young, I thought, boy, it takes forever for this school year to get out. Now, school starts, and I'm thinking, it's over. What happened to this year? It's gone. So it gets faster, and it's just like a snowball going down a hill. It just gets faster and faster. Yeah. That's right. That's right. It belongs to God. It doesn't belong to you to start with. Everything belongs to God. We just get to use it a little while. How about the dangers of alcohol? Because that's what's happening in this feast, and that's what gets Belshazzar in so much trouble as the time goes on. We've become a nation of social drinkers. Can't go sit down and eat a meal at a restaurant unless we got wine or we got a beer or something to drink. It's just become that way. Now, I'm not up here to talk about social drinking. I'm just talking about alcohol and the dangers of it. If you take fire in your bosom, you probably will get burned, but you may not get burned, but you're playing dangerously. And that's the way I feel about alcohol. I love the taste of beer. Always did. Can't stand whiskey, but I love the taste of beer. I don't drink beer. I don't want to be around beer because of its effects. If I hadn't married Judy and her with her can of chili and stopping me from drinking, I'd probably be dead or in jail today because I loved it so good. Am I proud of that? No. I'm proud that Judy canned my head, though, and stopped that. That was good, though, Judy. You put your foot down where it ought to be put down. You weren't going to put up with that, and you shouldn't have. And I thank you for that. That was because she was short and she couldn't aim that high. Well, regardless, she got my attention, and my father really laughed about that. I wonder, had Belshazzar neglected to study the history of Babylonian and Nebuchadnezzar? But down in verse 22 of the 5th chapter, he told him, although you know this, he said, you know what went on back then. Now, either he knew it and he didn't. Of course, you got to remember about Nebuchadnezzar. He forgot it from one moment to the next, so it doesn't shock me that Belshazzar done that way. Sometimes people who are that wealthy don't think about anything. Of course, they can't think of life. All they have is their luxuries. That's all they care about. Nebuchadnezzar told in Daniel 2:47 that the king answered Daniel and said, truly your God is the God of gods, the Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, since you have revealed this secret. And then on his second time at that, Nebuchadnezzar said, therefore I make a decree that my people, that any people, nation, or language that speaks anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made of ash heap, because there is no other God who can deliver like this. So, this Nebuchadnezzar could have been his grandfather. I'm guessing he was. It's a good guess. How all them royal families went, as I could get. But Nebuchadnezzar had proclaimed that their God was the greatest God there was. Did that mean Nebuchadnezzar served him like he should? No, not necessarily. But he did recognize who he was. And that was recorded, I'm sure, in the Chronicles, because they recorded a lot of stuff back then in that regard. Either Belshazzar didn't take time to study it, but he says you studied it one time and you knew it. Now, you may have chosen to put it out of your mind, but you knew it. And I like to think of it like this. Drunk Belshazzar, in his getting drunker, is getting more stupid and doing more stupid things as he gets drunker. And he's playing with, the God of the universe. He's playing with his temper and how long he will tolerate him. He now gives the command to bring the gold and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the temple which had been in Jerusalem, that the king and his lords and his wives and his concubines might drink from them. Now, there was nothing divine in those vessels as far as just the metal and stuff. That's all they were. But it's what they were used for that matters. This building is not in itself holy, but it is holy in the regard that we use it to worship, as a place to gather to worship God. So I don't like to desecrate this building in any way, because it's used for worshiping the one and true only God. So that makes it important. Doesn't make it holy as far as the wood and stuff in here. But because of what it's used for, it does. Well, he's got these vessels, and I'm going to hurry on right quick now. It was an insult to the living God to use those vessels in such a sacrilegious way. He was insulting the God that Nebuchadnezzar talked about. Is what he was doing. Let me see. Yes, if you abuse them or use them in an improper way,
Yeah, the context here is not using them as grace here.
well,
Their peace.
you're spitting in the face of God by looking at. I had a friend one time, was ex-brother-in-law. He talked about this old guy that had a team of mules, and the lightning struck the mules. And said he jerked off his head, and he said, "Strike old Baldy one time." And I thought, he might just do that. You don't think about who you're saying it to. No. I think you're started from birth. The question, here's something I want to say right quick. We'll do this and we'll leave. Who raised up the Babylonians to their prominence in the world at that time? They didn't do it on their own. God did it. Because he used them to punish Israel. Now, if he raised them up, now listen how bad they were. Look among the nations and watch. Be utterly astounded. For I will work in your days which you would not believe, though it were told you. For indeed I am raising up the Chaldeans, a bitter and hasty nation, which marches through the breadth of the earth to possess dwelling places that are not theirs. They are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity proceeds from themselves. Their horses also are swifter than leopards, and more fierce than even wolves. Their chargers charge ahead. Their cavalry comes from afar. They fly as the eagle and hastens to eat. Bear with me just a minute. Get my right page here. They all come for violence. Their faces are set like the east wind. They gather captives like sand. They scoff at kings, and princes are scorned by them. They deride every stronghold, for they heap up earthen mounds and seize it. Even with all this power granted them, here come the Persians and the Medes, and they fall. And they fall quickly. I believe that God made America great so it could help keep peace in the world and thereby open doors for the gospel. Not so that I could live in a 8,000 square foot house or something. That was not why he did it. He did it because it was a way to get the gospel spread all over the world, and it has done well. But, this is a big but we should never think that God will tolerate a sinful nation for long. If we turn our faces away from him, one of these days we'll wake up and it won't be here no more. It'll be gone. It happened that quick with Babylon. It can happen that quick with us. We need to remember, closing thing, I'll shut up. In Romans 2:6 says, God will render to each one according to his deeds. And he will. Thank you. I'm sorry to take too long.